Hello Aries, and welcome to your reading today. Thank you for joining me. This is your bonus reading for the end of September, leading into the few weeks that lay ahead. Gosh, Spirit are on it already. I'm going to get straight into it, Aries, because Spirit want to present the cards straight away. Yeah, and we'll catch up with other stuff as we go along. So let's have a look at the energy around you, the energy that's incoming, and anything that Spirit would like you to know. And what a fabulous card to start off with. We have the Cornucopia card. Cornucopia, abundance here, Aries. We have the Thinking Man. What else for Aries, please? Ooh, we have financial constraints. Well, that's an interesting mix, isn't it? Let's see what else comes. Ooh, gosh, they're on it today. And then we have the Door to Romance. What is going on with you, Aries? How very interesting. A mixed selection here. On the bottom of the deck, we have Broken Heart. This is very, very interesting. Because as I say, we had this beautiful start here, this cornucopia. For some of you, this may be a relationship reading. For some of you, it will be regarding, obviously, your finance. We have financial constraints here, but I am picking up a feeling of relationship here. Now, this can be, doesn't need to be a romantic relationship, and obviously it will be different for all of you. It's a general reading. For some of you, it could be a family relationship or a relationship with somebody at work, you know, purely an employee-employer relationship, that type of thing. So it can be any type of relationship because this spread is very interesting. We start off with this card, Cornucopia, talks about abundance, everything, the light shining down, everything seemed fantastic, abundant, a real sense of happiness coming from this card because you felt, Aries, that you were in a really good position. Now, I am picking up that for some of you, that was in the past, okay? So maybe you're feeling a bit reflective over days gone by, or it could be for some of you that you started a new position, a new job, or a new relationship where everything felt like the honeymoon period, you know? Everything felt great. But the more you thought about it, the more you reflected on it, you're thinking, maybe it's not as I thought it was going to be. You know, maybe promises were made to you, Aries, that haven't come through, haven't been honoured. You are holding this, what looks like a diamond sculpture of some sort, in your hand, thinking, hang on, this is how I thought this was going to be. But for some reason, it isn't how it actually is in reality. Very much that feeling. And as I say, this can apply to any aspect of your life where you're picking up this sort of vibe and this is resonating with you. If it isn't, then stay with me because we'll be picking up some more things through the tarot, some more clarity in a moment. But there's definitely this feeling of reflectiveness, this feeling of trying to weigh up where you're at the moment and wanting the feeling of goodness, the feeling of abundance that you initially had with whatever this situation is for you. There's almost like, you know, as you think more deeply about it, it may be that you were promised some sort of financial remuneration. I can never say that word, remuneration. I can never say that word. I'll get my N's and my M's muddled up. But it may be that you were expecting some sort of financial reward, payoff, or as I say, you were promised a certain salary of some sort, or maybe you thought you'd be moving in with a partner which would help you both with your finances. But for some reason, feels like it hasn't worked out like that. And there definitely feels that there's some financial constraints around you. If that hasn't happened already, then this is very much about, I feel that this is your present energy, this is your past energy. I don't feel it's in the distant past either, but this is your present energy, the thinking man. And it's almost like you're saying to yourself, hang on, you know, I thought it was going to be great. It's not as great. I'm not enjoying myself. This isn't right for me. But if I step out of this situation, it's going to hit me financially. And then, you know, what am I going to do? But it's interesting that we have the Daughter Romance card here, because I don't really feel this is necessarily a card that talks about romance. This spread could be about the way your relationship is, but this particular card, it's more to do with your heart feeling locked into a situation and feeling trapped by a situation. And you see these doors opening. It's almost like you're saying, well, okay, it's going to lead me to a position where maybe I'm not so well off. It's going to cause me some financial problems. But is that the only way that I can escape this feeling of being tricked, feeling trapped, you know? Very interesting energy for you, Aries, at the moment. It's making you very sad. Or at least you're worried about sadness, because this is the bottom of the deck card, okay? And we had broken heart, and maybe this is about the dreams you had when you first started in this situation, whether it be, as I say, a relationship, a work situation, whatever it is for you. The image you had in your head of how it was going to be, and maybe people weren't honest with you about how it was going to be, has left you feeling that, you know, almost like you feel that if you walk away from something that you thought was good, it's going to leave you feeling very, very sad. Let's find out if it is, or whether or not this is a good move for you. They want me to use this tarot, so let's see. Tell us more about this situation for Aries, please. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of disappointment here. Look at this. I think you were promised things that really didn't work out, which is what I was just saying, Aries. And here we see you at your lowest point. It's maybe come as a big disappointment to you. And as I say, it could be a relationship you entered into where you thought it was great because the honeymoon period was great. It's turned out not to be great. Maybe, you know, the person wasn't as you wanted them to be, or as you thought they were, more to the point. Or it could be a work situation where you were promised the earth. It all felt really good, really enticing. But once you got there, nothing like it. Big disappointment there in some situation. So we have the thinking man. In this, it is a male energy, this. And in this deck, there's also a thinking woman card. So it is a male energy. This tells me that this is very much about you approaching this situation. Yes, you're reflecting, but you're also doing it in quite an analytical, quite, gosh, the word's gone straight out of my head. What was the word? I'm obviously not meant to say it, it's fine. But, you know, in a very sort of logical, that was the word, logical, analytical sort of way, that you're approaching, you know, the decision making about what you should do. So let's see what the tarot tell us about this situation. Wow. You can turn this to be in your favor. Aries. That's why you're thinking about it very carefully and you're very logical about it. The Wheel of Fortune is here. This is, you know, things moving on, and because it's circular, you know, it's spinning, the wheel is spinning, but it is a wheel of fortune, which means that it's bringing luck onto your side. But I think that you're going to make the right decision. Whatever you decide is going to be the right decision. What about these financial constraints, Spirit? Are Aries right to be concerned about financial constraints? Aries, you're looking at the negatives. You know, this guy, he's looking at the empty beakers in front of him. But coming through the door is somebody with a new offer, a new opportunity, something that is going to lift that feeling of pessimism, that feeling of concern, that feeling of stress and worry. So Spirit are saying, yes, we acknowledge that you're worried about the impact that this situation may have on your finances, but it's about your mindset. If you focus on the negative, then yes, you'll be worried about financial constraints. But if you're open to new opportunities and you welcome them in, then that's a whole different ball game. Tell us more. Let's have another card with that Four of Cups, please. I feel we have another card pending. Yeah, look at this. Yes, you did have another card pending, because this is the Seven of Cups. That's what I was just saying about opportunities. Don't miss an opportunity. You need to be open to new opportunities and not focus on what you may, any difficulties or what you may feel you may lose. Because here we have the Seven of Cups. You have choices here. This lady is taking her time, making the right choice for her, Even the cat looks like they're a bit bored waiting for her to make that decision. But time is on your side. You have the opportunity to take time to really work out what it is you do next and what steps you take next, Aries. Spirit, what about the concern about feeling trapped and needing to free themselves from a situation, please? Oops, jumpy cards. Thank you. Again, we have this thing about pessimism, about looking back, having maybe regrets about what happened in the past. But if we see with the Five of Cups, we have a table here ready with a banquet, big goblets, that's the word I was looking for, upstanding with, a bottle full of whatever it is they're drinking here. But here we see spilt wine, This person is focusing on what went before. Maybe they're worried about repeating patterns or making the same mistakes. And Spirit said, if you keep they've just said to me, eyes to the sky. And it's almost like being, this is what they were saying earlier about having your eyes open to fresh opportunities, looking upwards instead of looking behind or down, There are new opportunities here. And they said, yeah, you may feel trapped. You may want to free yourself. You can free yourself. Interesting that we have balloons here, which are ready to just float into the sky. Yes, they're tethered at the moment, but you can easily release them. So, yeah, there's a big message here for you, Aries, to have faith in your own ability to make the right decision. And as long as you keep your face to the sky, as they've just said, your openness to something new that's better, then you will be in a much better position. Let me just see what the broken heart's here for. What is oh, thank you, that was quick. Yeah, you're maybe sad about conflict. It may be that in this situation that you thought was great turned out not to be great. There may have been a lot of conflict, a lot of arguments, a bit of a battle, a bit of a power struggle, because we see this person here holding the daggers and the other people looking quite distressed about it. So, you may feel quite sad about that, or you may have some regrets that in the past maybe you didn't make the best decision, or maybe you felt that you didn't handle things as well as you could have done. But Spirit is saying, doesn't matter now. As long as you're open and positive, it's time to let go of those old sentiments. Let me have another one with the Five of Swords, Spirit, if you could, please. Feels like there's another one. Yeah, otherwise you're going to cause yourself more heartbreak. Look, we've got Three of Swords with the broken heart. They're a matching card, to be honest. So they said, if you don't let go of this, because I almost feel there's a part, the energy here today in this card feels like almost like a revenge energy, or feeling angry about the fact that you were duped into thinking that this situation was better than it turned out to be. And they're saying you need to let go of that, or you're going to cause yourself further heartbreak. Okay. So that's a real, you know, this is coming through in a lot of the readings I did over the weekend about, you know, again, this need for positivity, looking in the right direction. And for you, Aries, particularly, it's lovely because you have choices. Spirit don't want you to miss them by looking at the negatives. Okay. Oh, wow. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So you may feel really dismayed that you put in a lot of effort to whatever this situation is for you, but you ended up feeling worse than when you started. But in actual fact, Spirit are saying that there is going to be a payoff from this situation in terms of, and I do feel it's an emotional payoff rather than a financial. Although I say that, and this is the Nine of Pentacles, not the Nine of Cups. So, but I just felt it was emotional somehow. Maybe it's a dual payoff. Maybe some of you will get some money back from a situation you're in, which will ease your fears around financial constraints, because it is, yes, it is reward, because it is the Nine of Pentacles. But the Nine of Pentacles also talks about a reward for all your past efforts that you've put in. You know, you've worked for this outcome. So whether it's emotional for you, whether it's financial for you, the Nine of Pentacles shows itself. Spirit are saying all you've got to do is let it flow. We had the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck underneath the Nine, which shows that you've put the work in to get this reward. So it's not all been in vain. It may feel like it at the moment, but it's not all been in vain, Aries, you know? So have that faith, have that confidence in yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but believe that you can turn this situation around. We have the Wheel of Fortune in your favour here. Right, love that. So, you know, I love my Moonology, and I've picked up this one, which is interesting because yesterday I was using a different deck. But anyway, it feels right for you, so I'm going to go with these ones. Can we draw it together for Aries, please? Thank you. The energy is gaining momentum. I think you're very close to making a decision about this situation, Aries. Communication is key. Again, you know, as I said, we had the Five of Swords, which shows conflict, and it may be that you need to step back from a situation a little bit and actually just try and come out of it with damage limitation, you know, by communicating rather than feeling affronted by a situation. Because, you know, maybe you were brought into whoever this situation was, and these people you've been dealing with, or this person you've been dealing with, maybe their relationship with you was a learning curve for them also. So communication, really important. Anything else for Aries, please? And again, Spirit, is there anything else for Aries? Thank you. Your dreams need a practical plan. So yes, rather than looking backwards and feeling sorrowful, if that's the position you feel in, Aries, start planning. Hold that dream dear to you, the thing that will make you happy, and start putting down a practical plan. You know, let's get that ball rolling and take you into more favourable waters, because this situation seems to have upset you. We've got two that have come out together. So we have be bold and make the first move. So yes, this is about you taking action, Aries, to move this situation forward. And we also have balanced spirituality and practicality. So while you're making your plans and, you know, you're deciding how you want your life to move forward, don't be afraid to ask Spirit for guidance. And, you know, Spirit are always there to help you, as are the angels, but you need to ask them, because they don't interfere in your life unless you ask them to, basically. So yeah, just get that balance of also self-care alongside practicality, the everyday things that we all have to deal with. That was a lovely reading. I like that. The energy's good from it, Aries, to be honest. Even though it felt like, you know, you'd hit this difficult time and you felt quite let down and quite disappointed. You know, the key message here is you'll move on from this, but you need to stay positive and not dwell on what went before. I hope you found that helpful. What I was going to say earlier was, if you'd like to look at your situation in more detail for you personally, then please click on the Buy Me a Coffee link. There is a QR code if you're watching on a bigger screen, but on your phone, all the details are in the description box below. If you click on the Buy Me a Coffee link and the shop tab, it will take you through to my list of different readings available. And they are all recorded just like this, but they're just for you. I pick up on your energy and read just for you. So if that's something you're interested in, please take a look at that. And in the meantime, have a beautiful week, and I will speak to you all really soon. Bye for now, Aries.